Welcome to the Endgame podcast, where I bet you didn't know what you didn't know. Welcome to season 2. I'm Dr. Ryan Wakeham, successful entrepreneur and your endgame coach. Sit back, relax, and tune in as we discuss entrepreneurial life, what makes a successful day. So today's topic is obviously critically important, as starting off the day from a very strong foundation creates the recipe for success, right? So if you start off every day on the right foot, in the right mindset, with the right foundation, the chances that that day will be successful, and then compounding over time, a concept we've talked about in the past, the compounding effect of multiple successful days, day after day after day, creates a return that is far greater than the sum of its parts. So the idea around how you start, finish, and navigate your day to be successful in that day and beyond is obviously really important. Very important to me, part of the recipe of my success over the many years that I've been doing this. So, first and foremost, you have to define what a success looks like in daily life, or what success looks like for you on a day to day, week to week, month to month basis. And we've talked about these things in the past, but again, a goal is really a hope or a wish if you don't put it down, if you aren't putting strategy and action behind it, if you aren't day in and day out keeping it top of mind and as a target that you're approaching, right, in intervals, and then making adjustments along the way. So first and foremost, in order to be successful, whether that's today or next week or next year, you have to do the kind of the pre-work. You have to think about, what does success look like? You have to define that. You have to be not just specific with what is the outcome you want, but you have to be specific about what is the timeline in which you want to achieve that. So again, not just a hope and a dream, putting it on paper, journaling about it, putting a strategy behind it, getting incredibly specific about what success is to you are all really important features to not just to define what success is to you, but also to achieve said success with time. Again, if you don't have a defined specific goal, then you're constantly reaching for something that you don't actually know that you're reaching for, right? It's impossible to reach out and grab something that can't actually define, right? So the more definition you put behind it, the more strategy you put behind it, the more specific it is, the more likely it is both attainable and that you will obtain it. So first and foremost, if you're going to do this, or when you do this, do it in a way where you can be successful, and start by defining what success is, right? And by the way, success in these goals, they don't have to just be, first and foremost, they don't have to just be business, right? So you can have both personal and professional goals. And in keeping with that same theme, they don't have to be financial in nature. They don't have to be even an object by nature. They can be things like achieving more happiness, or more fulfillment. So they can be defined as inanimate objects, right? They could be defined as feelings or changes in feelings. And as long as you can be specific, and it can be measured, and it can be actioned on, then you're giving yourself the chance to be successful, and at least starting off in the foundation, or giving yourself the foundation to be successful. Along those lines, defining a successful day, which then compounds to weeks, months, years, and beyond, starts with a routine or a ritual. I will tell you that there are those who achieve success. Actually, this is a question that was asked once, which is, have you achieved success because of your characteristics, your traits, your rituals, your routines, or have you achieved success in spite of your characteristic traits, rituals, routines? And so, along those lines, if you're going to define what success is, as I said, you probably want to start off with a great foundation and start every day off on the right foot. And you do that through certain structure and routines. You can be successful dancing in traffic and in chaos with very few structure, rituals, or routines, you're more likely to be successful sooner if you at least create some structure, some routine, some ritual to your day to day life. And so that begins with, what do you do first thing in the morning, right? Your head comes off the pillow. What next, right? If your head comes off the pillow and your immediate mindset is, woe is me, today's a Monday, what are the chances that Monday are going to ultimately be successful for you? I don't know statistically, but I will tell you less than if your head came off the pillow and the first mindset or thought was, what am I grateful for today? Or what am I excited about for today? Right. So the little quips and self motivations and positive mind speak such a long way in helping us create that mindset, health set, ecosystem for success in any given day. As I've talked about in the past, when I can, again, sometimes I travel and wheatgrass doesn't travel super well. So when I can, I start my day off with a wheatgrass and ginger shot, right? I am quite literally planting the foundation in my body for a successful day, right? I'm not waking up and chugging a Diet Coke, right? Nothing against Diet Coke, but if you're waking up and starting with the right nutrients and minerals as compared to soda, again, you're creating that foundation, you're creating that ecosystem, you're creating the momentum and the mindset, the momentum both physically and mentally to be successful that day. So if you do nothing else structurally or ritualistically, at least be grateful and at least start the day off under the right mindset, right? Start off the day, positive mindset, off on the right foot. If you're then willing to go a bit further, the kind of navigation through the middle section, right? You kind of start your day, you end your day. We'll talk about that in a bit. And then there's everything in your day. And that is also really important that there's some, again, I would say if you're willing to stretch and do a ritual or a routine in the morning, first thing, I would ask you to then stretch the next step and create structure, ritual, and routine through your day to day. Now, fires happen. We've talked about, how you delegate or how you allocate, so that you're not constantly putting out fires of things that have very little purpose for you, or it's not the highest and best use of your time. We've talked about that in the past, using the chart to kind of determine what is something you should be focusing on versus someone else within your business and within your personal life, but the structure through the day itself, right? And so if you hear like David Meltzer talk about this, he talks a ton about being just impeccable with your schedule, right? So literally schedules every minute of his day down to a science. He knows minute by minute, hour by hour, where he's going to be and what he's going to be doing, right? And so it may take you a while to get there, and you may never get there based on your job or your personality. But I would say if you look at my schedule, it's very much the same. If there is something I am doing that day, it is on my schedule. And if there is free time, that's also on my schedule, right? It's not a white space on my schedule. It is blocked as free time. This is blocked as time for me to call so and so, time for me to, play golf, time for me to go do something, right? Is on my schedule. And I am very structured and regimented in that way so that I can be optimal and efficient with my time. There's along those lines, there's this concept of, work will basically expand and contract into the time you give it, right? And so not only is it about being a master of your schedule and being structured in that way, it's also about understanding that time, energy, cost benefit analysis we've talked about in the past, which is you don't have to schedule every meeting for an hour. If you schedule it for an hour, there's a high probability it'll take you an hour to have that conversation. If you schedule it for 10 minutes, I bet you get the bulk of what you need in 10 minutes. Again, if you talk to David Meltzer about this is something else he does. He does not book calls for more than 10 or 20 minutes. I forget the number. He doesn't book videos for more than maybe 20, 30 minutes. So being a master of your schedule is not just about putting it on your schedule. It's about actually putting thought into what you're putting on your schedule. That's a whole other rabbit hole, right? So Should you even take this meeting, right? There's a concept in medicine, which is you don't ever do a test unless you know what you're going to do with that test result, right? So don't test it if you don't know what you're going to do with it, right? The same applies here, which is don't just put something on your calendar, on your schedule. Don't book a meeting unless you know why you're booking that meeting. Right? This happens so much in day to day that I see, which is someone shoots an email off, there's then a meeting that happens, and there's not really a purpose for the meeting other than to maybe mastermind something, which is fine. But then shouldn't we be more specific about what we're masterminding against? Or shouldn't we, as I said earlier, write down some goals, have measurable outcomes, and define a timeline for that? So many meetings I've been part of and seen don't have a follow-up or aren't succinct or efficient or necessarily providing the long-term outcome that someone wants by booking that time now. Time is an incredibly valuable resource, right? And I think, if you take nothing else away from this, structuring your time is really important. Structuring your energy is really important, but doing so with intention is actually more important, right? So you could book your schedule 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every single day. And if it's full of a bunch of BS, the chances that you're going to get where you want to go, if you've really done some work in defining your success, are pretty minimal. So you should both define your outcome and what success looks like, and you should be super intentional about how you book your time to get there, right? So it's not just structure through scheduling, it's structure through intentional scheduling within known follow ups and outcomes, right? And again, by the way, the work will expand or contract to the time you give it. So give it an appropriate, I use the word appropriate amount of time. Don't shortchange don't give yourself 10 minutes on something that is a life changing decision. And don't give yourself an hour for something that really could have been an email, right? And so be masterful, not just with scheduling, but with the intention behind the scheduling. Other part of this, again, getting off to the right mindset. We've talked about positive mindset, and I mentioned it, and you've heard me talk about it before, but also health set, right? So your physical health is critically important. If you sit in front of a computer on meetings all day in front of a computer screen, trust me, I know this, you will end up with physical health issues, right? There's a reason why your Apple Watch tells you to stand up every hour. It is because the longer you sit and you scrunch and you look forward into the computer monitor or camera, whatever it may be, you are actually creating that physical, that health set that is going to be of detriment to your long-term success, right? It's also pretty important that if you are going to be successful and put in all the intention and the scheduling, the structure and the strategy and the journaling and the outcomes and the measurability, if you're going to do all those things to achieve something, if you're not healthy enough to then uh, kind of bask in that success, if you're not healthy enough to um, take it all in and really enjoy and celebrate it, then what does it all matter? Right. So, and that's why so much of what I talk about comes back to mindset and health set, because as a physician, as a psychiatrist, as a entrepreneur, I know how important it is to be able to get where you want to go and then truly be able to celebrate it. And there's nothing more frustrating or more miserable than being successful and being physically or emotionally or mentally unhealthy, because then you don't actually get to celebrate. The other really important thing of the meat and potatoes of the day is your relationships. And again, this goes back to booking time and energy and who are you choosing to surround yourself with. We've talked about this before, surround yourself with the right people, being the trying to be the least intelligent person in the room sort of thing. Who's part of your cohort? Who do you look to for advice? And you can't surround yourself with the right people and be able to receive and give feedback and be able to grow and stretch if you can't have positive relationships, right? If every single relationship you have is litigious in nature and argumentative, the chances that you're going to get people to stay in your cohort, to get people to provide you feedback, to get people to help you grow, to be mentors, or to kind of walk alongside you, there's obviously a tremendous impact in terms of who will put up with that, right? So it's your day is also about how you cultivate relationships, how you make new connections, how you relate to those around you. And again, we've talked, people can be introverts and extroverts, and that's all fine. You might derive energy from groups, or you might derive energy from one-on-ones, or you might derive energy from something in between, but figure out for you where you derive your energy from. Figure out for you what a fruitful and positive and meaningful relationship is. Define that too, and then go get it, right? So as part of your energy and schedule time for the connection, schedule time for the relationships. And again, that is both personally and professionally. Make the time for those around you, your family, your friends. As I said, time is the scarcest of resources. It's the most valuable of resources. And it is the one thing that you wish you had more of when you don't have more of it. And so it is important that we wake up every day with that mindset and we use it to our advantage. Finally, as I said, you wake up every morning, you put yourself in the right mindset. Hopefully, you put yourself in the right health set. You then add some routine and structure through your day. You engage in positive relationships. You engage in purposeful work. You're very intentional with your scheduling. And then it comes to the end of the day, right? And so you get up, you do your work all day, and then you come home, kick off your shoes, you drink a few Manhattans, and you numb yourself to sleep. You have to end like you begin, right? You have to end the day with positive mindset, with the right health set. You have to end the day with reflection on the day, both looking back and visioning forward, right? So your time of reflection is about the past, but then you also want to look on the move forward too, with your learnings from the day about how is that going to help you tomorrow, right? We're always interested in how we take little changes day by day by day to compound into massive returns, right? And you can't do that if you aren't measuring your outcomes. And the only way to do that is to reflect back and look forward. And in that process, just like you woke up in a grateful mindset, you should end the day with gratitude as well, right? What was great about today? Positive mindset. What are you grateful for? What are the key takeaways from the day that are going to put you in a position for tomorrow? In fact, again, if you talk to David Meltzer, one of the things he's a huge proponent of is setting yourself up today in the evening for tomorrow, right? And that includes your sleep hygiene. We don't talk enough about sleep and how important to restorative and resilience sleep really is. But if you are putting yourself in a bad position to get good sleep every night and you don't get good sleep, the chances that you'll be successful the next day diminish. And so tomorrow's success begins with how you end today. So reflection, vision moving forward, key takeaways, gratitude, setting yourself up for success in what's arguably the most important part of your day, which is your restoration and your resiliency building through sleep. So, in conclusion, as you think about how you can be successful every day, how you can make small changes day to day that compound into massive end game results, key takeaways are: start every morning off the right mindset and health set, structure your day and be intentional with your time, scheduling, and with relationships, and then end your day on the right foot as well, reflecting on the day, looking into the future, and being grateful, and setting yourself up for a successful night of sleep so that you can be successful the next day too. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, share. Once again, I'm Dr. Ryan Wakeham, successful entrepreneur and your end game coach. I'm here to teach you how to exist today so you can expand tomorrow and create the ultimate end game of your wildest desires. Talk to you soon.